Hello and welcome to Game Pass Roulette. This is a new series that I'm starting on this channel which allows for a wheel to randomly select which game I'll be going for every single achievement in. The games available to me in this series are the games from the Game Pass. There are over 400, some good, some bad and some in the middle, so it's going to be quite an experience going through each of these. As mentioned, this is a new series on my channel, so any feedback would be very much appreciated. And if you haven't already, a like and a subscribe would go a massive way. So without further ado, let's give this wheel a spin and find out what the first game of this series is.
Okay then, let's spin the wheel and see what game I'll be playing next. I think it's fair to assume that most of these I've never heard of, so, well, a good chunk of them are, so let's see where we land. Firewatch. Okay, I think I've heard of that. I think that's that sort of story game, so let's have a look.
Firewatch. Set in the heart of the Wyoming wilderness, you play as Henry, a guy who's taken a job as a fire lookout to escape life. You're perched up in your cozy little tower, surrounded by endless forests, mountains, and the occasional deer wandering by. But beneath this tranquil setting, something's not quite right. A strange mystery starts unfolding and you're smack in the middle of it, and the only person you can talk to is your supervisor, Delilah, over a walkie-talkie. This game was released by Campo Santo and released in 2016 and is one of the best story adventure games out there. So let's jump into getting all of the achievements in this game. You wake up in your watchtower on the first day and introduced to your supervisor, Delilah. After a brief introduction, you're interrupted by some fireworks going off in the distance. This starts off your first task of locating who is responsible for letting these off.
Whoa, that's not legal, right?
No. You need to get down there right now and stop them. Fire danger is through the fucking roof.
After making your way down to the location where you think the people setting off the fireworks are located, you start finding clues on who they may be. After following the clues, you finally get a visual on the people, and it's not quite who you would expect it to be.
I found them in the lake.
Skinny dipping.
Yeah.
Is that a guy over there?
Oh boy. Enjoy dealing with that.
After confronting the teens and stopping them from setting off any more fireworks, it's now time to make our way back to the watchtower. This is where the real beauty of the game is, just wandering around the forest. Whilst climbing up the steep hill next to the watchtower, you stumble across a creepy figure. This is the first indicator that the forest might not be the most lovely place on the planet.
There's some guy out here giving me the creeps.
The creeps? Wait, he's looking at you? Is he doing anything else?
I don't think so.
Eventually, after the long hike back, we make it to the watchtower. This is where we discover that whilst we've been gone, someone has broken in and stolen some of our items. This further shows that the forest isn't the safe place that we might have thought it was.
Someone broke in.
Hey, what?
They wrecked the place. Threw my typewriter out the window. Motherfucker.
With the help of Delilah's calm nature, we're able to settle in and go to bed, ending day one, getting us the achievement, Good First Day.
You know why that would be the case?
Can I go fix it?
Stayed away from our communication.
After quite an eventful first day, you wake up for the second day raring to go. Unfortunately, there's another issue. This is due to the communications being down. Somehow one of the cables have become disconnected and it's your job to figure out how and why. Eventually when you get there, you determine that it might not have naturally occurred, furthermore spreading the mystery of what is going on in this forest.
Hey, so the wire is definitely down out here. I just found it. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't look like the wind. It looks like it was cut deliberately.
Looking at all the debris and rubbish that are left around the site where the wire's been cut, you determine that it could have been the teens that you stopped skinny dipping yesterday. They left a trail in another direction, so you follow that. Whilst following this trail, you find a backpack that has been left hanging from a tree. Inside this rucksack are a few different supplies, but most importantly, a disposable camera. This is where the first missable achievement is in the game. It's as simple as using every single photo on that disposable camera. Once you've done this, you'll unlock the achievement, Shutterbug.
Anyway, so it goes.
Whilst continuing the hunt for the teens in the afternoon, you'll find yourself in a large open area of the forest. This is where you're able to get your second missable achievement in the game. Off to the right in a little area, you'll find hidden away a little turtle. If you pick it up, it'll give you the option to adopt it. Alongside adopting it, it also gives you the opportunity to name it, and there are some great options. Once you've done this, you'll then unlock the achievement, Love Turds.
Sentimental value.
Following finding our little turtle friend, it's now time to continue our search for the teenagers. As we continue to walk through the forest, we come across their campsite. To begin with, everything looks fine, and it looks like they've just left to go and do something, but as you get closer to the tent, you can see something else has definitely happened. Alongside a ripped up tent, there is a note asking for the psycho that has been following them to stop harassing them. This continues the strange happenings that have been going on in this forest.
Their tent looks like it's been through the shredder, which would explain that scrap I found.
This ends day 2 and gets us the achievement Back to Work. The next part of this game, you play through day 9 to day 76, skipping through to the important moments. The first of these important moments occur on day 9. This is where you learn that the 2 girls that you found skinny dipping and the ones that are assumed to be in the tent have gone missing.
Well, I called with some bad news. 2 young women, Chelsea Stevens and Lily McLean, were reported missing. They've got parents out in California who haven't heard from them in a week.
Next is day 64 when we awake to a massive blaze going off on the horizon.
You've got a front row seat for what might be the biggest fire of the year.
Yeah, it's really going.
Day 76 is the next day that you play. It seems as if the previous fire has been dealt with and you can continue on patrolling the forest. Whilst patrolling the forest, Delilah asks you to keep an eye out for bear tracks that have been located around by the pond. What you find at the pond though is very, very different. It's a notepad with all of the conversations that you and Delilah have been having over the walkie-talkies since you got there.
What the... Dee, I found a clipboard down here and there's something strange going on.
At the lake? What's up?
Someone has written down what we said to each other, have been saying.
After making this strange discovery, you hear a funny noise going off behind you. Walking over to investigate, you realise it is a walkie-talkie. This may be the one that the person's been listening to your conversations on. Before you can think about it too much, you get jumped. On the clipboard that you found before getting knocked out is a place called Wapiti Meadow. It's decided that it makes sense to go here to try and work out what on earth is going on. When you finally make it there, you find a gated off area that you cannot access.
I'll hike out there and get some answers.
Great. Just keep a clear head. Don't, do anything crazy.
To be able to get into the fence, we decide the best way to go about it is to locate the firefighters in the old scout camp. Once you get there, you realise that this campsite has been long abandoned.
I'm at the camp.
Great. Have a look around. If anyone's still there, they might be able to help.
Although the campsite has been abandoned, we do find an axe. This is going to work perfectly getting through the fence and the padlocked gate.
Just thought I would maybe, stop there, let the mystery percolate.
My mother always...
Now you have the axe, you are ready to get through that fence. Whilst walking back to the fence, you're talking to Delilah when suddenly you hear someone else on the walkie-talkie.
Did you just cough?
No. Did you just cough?
No.
This ends day 76 and gets you the achievement, Someone's Out There.
Okay.
By the way...
Day 77 starts and you agree with Delilah to meet up in a certain area of the map. On this day, there are 3 missable achievements that you've got to collect. The first of these is Old Shoshone. You get this achievement whilst making your way to Cottonwood Creek. After battling through some branches, you'll find a little campsite set up with a cassette tape and an old note. After reading this note, it'll give you a bit of backstory about 2 characters called Ron and Dave. This is when the achievement will then unlock.
How comforting to know that he was able to keep up a correspondence...
The next missable achievement is located near to the previous one. If you travel a little ways away, you'll find an abandoned shack. If you then venture down to the basement, you'll find an old furnace. When you then interact with this furnace, you'll get a little bit of a surprise and the achievement, The Life and Times of Raccoon Carter.
Oh, God.
When you finally get to the meeting point set by Delilah, you'll find a supply cache. Inside the supply cache, you'll see a new radio that's been provided to you by Delilah. This therefore means that you can communicate without being listened in on.
I've got it now.
It's now time to head into the fenced off area using the axe and the new radio to be able to communicate properly. When you get there, you go up to the padlock, give it a big smash, and then you're in. As you get through the gate, you'll notice there's a little box opposite you. If you interact with this, a bee will fly out and give you a sting. In this day, you aren't having a great lot of luck with animals. This gets you the achievement, Bee Plot. At this point in the story, I'm not going to go through any of the key aspects of the mystery part of the game. This is because I don't really want to spoil any of the aspects of the game for people that haven't played it before. I'd really recommend it, and it's a good experience to get. Once you then complete day 77, you'll get the achievement, Burn the Place Down.
I knew what caused the Wapiti Meadow fire.
This is where you enter the final day, day 79. With a forest fire absolutely raging, there's not much more to do than evacuate. You have to venture across the map to get to the evac point, and when you get there, there is a helicopter waiting for you. As I mentioned, I've missed out some key plot points just to avoid any major spoilers, but this is where the game finishes. This is also where you'll get the final achievement, Firewatch, for completing the game. I'm now going to go into my feelings about the game, which will contain spoilers which I didn't go into in the rest of this video, so if you don't want to witness any of them, I'd recommend clicking off at this point. I do really appreciate it if you've made it this far though, so thank you very much. So, Firewatch, what did I think? I thought that 80 to 90% of this game was absolutely amazing. I thought the mystery and the suspense that it builds throughout the game is incredible, and it's beautiful. My issue with it really is the ending. It builds so much up to the point where you're just thinking, what could it be, what could it be? And it just falls a bit flat. My main point is that it's a bit underwhelming at the end, I think. The fact that it's just some bloke that's hiding out in the forest because he may have accidentally or on purpose killed his son and doesn't want to deal with the responsibilities after. It just doesn't really match the suspense that the game builds throughout the entire thing. I do say that the writing and the relationship building with Delilah is great, and I do quite like the fact that in the end, you just sort of both go your own ways anyway. It is disappointing because it would have been nice to have met up with her, but I sort of get the point. Overall, I'd say this game's like a perfect 4 out of 5. If it just had that little bit better ending, it would be a perfect 5, I would say. And the fact that you can complete it in about 6 hours, it makes it even better. It doesn't go on too long, and as I said before, it is just beautiful. I would highly recommend this to anybody, even if you know what the story is. It's still just fun to play on your own, and just wandering around the forest is great. Once again, if you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it, and any recommendations on what to play in the future, and any recommendations on how to improve this series, please let me know. It's very much appreciated. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.